South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Welcome in, everybody. Happy Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. We'll call it Thanksgiving Eve. This is Sports by the Book here at the South Point Hotel and Casino. I'm Alex White alongside Kenny White for a full hour. We've got a lot to get to. We're going to go hockey. I think 30 out of the 32 teams are playing today. Big slate in the NBA. We'll go through all of those lines. And then we want to talk about the college football playoffs after their projection show again last night. Kenny White has made some lines of what he thinks they would be right now if the playoffs were to start this weekend. We'll go through those and see if we can find any value on some future plays. Last half hour, we will go through the 5 games that were requested from everybody in the chat. So we appreciate you all. Please jump in the chat now. Let us know how you're doing today. If you like any bets as we go through NHL and NBA. I guess we do have to start off with the board because we are being upfront and honest here on Sports by the Book.
Well, yeah, you should, at the beginning of all shows, take care of all the house cleaning and go over the records from yesterday. And I wish there was no overtime. Look at that. That's a nice board. 2-1 makes us 13-3 now on the year. And the one loss yesterday, overtime, Houston, Minnesota. I hate overtime. Especially when you're an under player, you hate overtime. And if you're an over player, I guess you don't mind it because you could get a win like that. But that score looked good in the fourth quarter. And Houston, though, I'm glad Houston won. And that was kind of my dog of the day. Frank's off this week. Frank, hope you're having a good time. You just blew it. I could have had a dog of the day yesterday.
Well, and thank you for bringing that up because I will be back Friday. But tomorrow is Courtney's birthday. So happy birthday to Courtney if Frank and Courtney are watching.
Oh, nice.
But, okay, so I went 0-3, but you always say after your worst day is going to be your best day. Tough losses for me, that overtime NBA game. I should have followed your Bucks and Heat under instead. We did not have a third-string goalie, so that kind of affected my over 6 in that one. And then the Bruins found a way to lose. It was 2-0, even though Vancouver just had about 14 shots on goal throughout that game. They are a very tough team to handicap because they do this often in the playoffs. I remember you saying I had Vancouver way too high, but they still found ways to win.
You know, I'm just what you were talking about. You have to be lucky. Sports, it's better to be lucky than good. I think it's better to be great, I guess, at what you're doing. But it really is. You got to be lucky. You lost on an overtime game.
Yes.
And you lost because the third string goalie didn't go who you thought was going to go. You wouldn't have bet that game, and you should have won the other one. You're really 1-1 is what you should have been instead of 0-3, and that's just bad luck. Luck should even out in the long run, and you'll win those games. And we say that. I've been doing this 40 years. I still don't think the luck factor has evened out even close because, and when I talk about that overtime game, no one would believe it that if I could tell you, I think it was 2021 or 2022, maybe it was the 21-22 season college basketball. At one point, I'd lost 75 under bets in overtime and only had won 2 over bets that I had that went in overtime, and I won because of overtime. But it was that bad or ridiculous of a number. And it was probably a year there was just more overtimes than normal, and I was on the wrong end of it so many times. And I was still actually having a good season and winning at that point. So you got to be lucky. And if I could turn around that one year and just get rid of all those overtime losses, that's just such an amazing season.
Well, that NBA game only went over by like 7 points, right? With overtime.
And they scored more than the normal overtime. The normal overtime's 19 points, and they had 26, I think, or 27. So when I saw it was going overtime, I said, there's still a chance.
Yeah.
Still got a chance to win. I mean, this is not easy, and then it ended up being easy.
Still, that is the right side there when it only goes over by that much for an under bet. But let's get into today's action. It is a new day, a lot going on, a lot of college basketball we will not get to today, but we do have hockey and NBA. So let's start off with some hockey since we neglect this sport often. So let's look at our lines, what the book has. I also have some stats here on how these teams are playing. So looking at the first one with the Blues and the Devils are playing really good. They're 6th right now in goals for per game and 6 in goals against. The Blues definitely helped out the other night with Montgomery, now the head coach, turning this offense around. But as of right now on the season, 28th in goals for, just 2.48 per game, and goals against 3.3. So the Devils, minus 220 at home here, total 6 over. Is this another spot where we could look at St. Louis?
Oh, I think it's blindly playing them till they lose. And you're already shown a big profit, and you don't need to bet a full unit because you're getting a big plus price. Yep. So I would say, it's new coach, bet the Blues, take the plus $2, a half a unit. I
like it. We're going to the Rangers and Carolina, 2 of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. The Canes minus 175, total 6.5. Hurricanes can never get their number high enough here, but goals for so far this season, 4. They are 3rd in the league, and they are 5th in goals against. Rangers right there, they're about 10th in both of those categories. Anything that jumps out to you looking at our sheet here?
The number's just not enough, but maybe under in this game. We mentioned the goals against, and Shesterkin, one of the best goalies in the game. We have it 6. They have it 6.5. So,
and Spencer Martin has done really good for Frederick Anderson since he has been out. So
he's gained a lot of experience.
Yes.
Being in all season long.
And he is behind some really good defensemen there in Carolina. So a lean to the under in that one for us. Minnesota and Buffalo. Minnesota minus 130 on the road. Total 6 in this one. Now these two are fairly close because Buffalo, they're right there. They're pretty average. 13th in goals for and 17th, tied for 17th in goals against. Minnesota, though, they have been playing very good defense, and Gustafson has been fantastic. They are tied for 2nd right now in goals against at 2.48. So it's a lean to the home team here with that plus price, but it's kind of hard when Minnesota is playing very well.
Well, Buffalo's playing really well too. Yeah, they've won 3 in a row, 7 of their last 10, and this was a team that your grandfather told me before the season started. Well, we bet them the first 2 games of the year. They were in, I believe they were in France somewhere.
Right.
And they were playing New Jersey, and New Jersey had a ton of injuries. And New Jersey won both games. We bet Buffalo both games. He talked about Buffalo to me about how good their defense was going to be. They brought in a lot of really good players, and they were all better defensively. And when that happens, you're going to be good because if you can play defense and the other team can't score, you'll get your opportunities. You can turn defense into offense. So Buffalo has been very, very good. As I said, 7-3. I think it's even better if you go back. They're 11-9 right now. I think they started like 1-4, so I'm going to say they're like 10-5 over the last 15 games. We make them the favorite in this game, minus 111. If you can get $1.15, you got a good play in Buffalo.
Not to mention, I just looked it up, and Tage Thompson is projected to return tonight at home against Minnesota, and it even says he stayed out of the last 2 games on the road, just precautionary reasons. So that's another reason here why we could back the home team getting a plus price.
No doubt they've played well without him, and he's their best scorer. So it'd be nice to get him back in the lineup. He'll help. And I've noticed in hockey, it doesn't seem like it takes a lot for these guys to get going. They score in the first game back so often.
Yeah.
So
I wonder what that is. Maybe they don't rush him out there too soon, and they've been skating for a while. And
yeah, it's a game of a lot of skill.
Yeah.
You really got to be skillful. We're talking about on skates, talking about hitting a baseball, 2 round objects, hitting a puck squarely is really difficult to do because that thing's bouncing around and you have a hockey stick in your hand that's not completely square.
And again,
so and you're on skates.
And you're on skates. Exactly.
Let's see if a baseball hitter could hit on skates.
Yeah.
It would be almost completely impossible for him to hit the baseball. So yeah, that's a very tough sport. But I think that skill level of those star players, when they come back, they're just ready to go. They're just that good.
So a lead in there to the Sabres at plus 110. We're looking for a plus 115 or better if you can find that in the market. Two more really good Eastern Conference teams here. Florida minus 140 at home. Total 6 in this one. Toronto Maple Leafs are going to Florida to take on the defending champs. Toronto been very good on the defensive side. 2.48 goals against. That is second best in the league. Haven't been scoring much though, and Austin Matthews has been out for a little bit. 3.05. They are 23rd. Panthers, they're the opposite. Scoring a lot. They're 10th right now, 3.36 average goals per game, 3.45, 28th in goals against. So with all that being said, what do we have here? Florida minus 140 at home.
Yeah, you're right there, 144. The numbers even come up higher, open 27. Opened at $1.25 at the South Point, and it's up to $1.40 now. Matthews is doubtful and will not. I don't think he plays tonight. So Florida at home against Toronto with their best player out. I would lean a little bit to Florida, but the price I think is just too high now.
Well, and we got to look at their streaks here, right? Toronto has won 4 in a row, playing very good.
How have they done that?
And Florida has struggled a little bit. Good goaltending. Yeah. Anthony Stolares and Joseph Wall being back. So between those two.
Amazing, yeah. Florida's on a 4-game losing streak. So these are the top 2 teams in the Atlantic and going head-to-head. I don't have the result if they played already this year, but don't know if there's a revenge factor in this game. But these are the 2 best teams.
But nothing really in that one. The numbers are right there. Calgary and Red Wings. Red Wings minus 110. Pretty much a pick 'em. Minus 110 on both sides. Total 5.5. That is where we have the total as well. But a little bit of a lean to the Red Wings in this one. Calgary.
Not really a lean. That's really a play.
Is that a play?
Yeah, you got a 33. And it's minus 105. This is another team that's a young team there. 4-5-1 over their last 10 games. Calgary, though, has lost 4 straight on the road. They've been fabulous at home, 9-3, but the road 3-4-3. So they've struggled away from home.
Calgary's, I've had my eye on them. They've been a good under team, actually. Goals against, they're 9th, and then goals for 23rd. So struggled to score, but held in these games with good defense and goaltending. Detroit's
on a 4-game under streak in their home games. But total at 5.5 is right there with the number.
Washington Capitals, Tampa Bay. We've had to make our adjustments with Washington, but they still have found ways to win here. Tampa Bay minus 145 at home, total 6.5.
They won 5 straight road games. Washington has. Your number's right there. You got $1.59. So, and the total right there. So let's just move on to the next one.
Boston Bruins and the Islanders. Bruins still trying to figure things out, playing on a back-to-back. Did lose to Vancouver last night, 2-0. Islanders minus 125, and the total here at the South Point is 5.5 under, minus 115.
Yeah, and your numbers, again, are very close on this game. No adjustment for back-to-back, which could hurt the Bruins a little bit in this one. That might be a worth 25 cents, and the Islanders would be the play here. And Boston, with the coaching change, won a couple in a row, but lost last night and now traveling. Maybe a little tough spot for them.
Yes, and really, if you look at the teams that they played when they had won after the coaching change, it might have been more about that competition. Bruins right now are 32nd in goals for per game, so they have been really struggling. But Swayman is looking better and better. So at 5.5, it's tough to go under, but both these teams are definitely under.
Swayman will be in goal tonight. I've got
that's right.
Corpusalo.
Yeah.
And when you're playing back-to-back, your number one guy doesn't go. So there's a drop-off there, and just the back-to-back. They were in Vancouver, right? Or no, they were at home.
They were at home.
They were at home. Yeah, okay. They still had to travel to going to New York. I was just thinking, man, if they were in Vancouver, that would have been an impossible travel. This line would have been much, much higher. But I like the Islanders in this spot.
How about Vancouver traveling from Boston now to Pittsburgh? So we do have the backup goalie, too. I don't think that is added into this line. So at the South Point, Vancouver minus 115, the total 6. But
what's up with Vancouver? 8 straight road wins? 8-1 on the road, 3-5-3 at home.
I really need to look up their shots on goal per game, too.
That's just incredible to me that they've won 8 straight on the road. I'm flabbergasted by that. You just don't see that. So it's a team that's playing well. They like to travel. And I wouldn't want to bet on them, back-to-back nights, especially coming off a win in Boston. There's definitely got to be adjustment there. You have Vancouver $1.25. This should be even money with that adjustment. Figure in the science behind the handicapping.
Yeah. And really nothing. We don't want to jump on the Penguins, who have struggled this year. 25th in goals for and 32nd in goals against. So dead last there in giving up goals. Let's go to the Canadiens and the Blue Jackets. Columbus minus 175 here at the South Point, total 6.5 over 120.
Yeah, that's the right price. Montreal lost last night and has to travel. Played at home, now going to Columbus, and they'll use their second string goalie, Primo, against Elvis tomorrow or tonight. So, but you don't have the number that high, $1.45, but you'd make the 25-cent adjustment for the travel. You're right around $1.70, and that's where the number is. The total, you're leaning very close to 7.
Yeah.
This could be a high-scoring game. Columbus has gone over their last 4 home games, so I think over 6.5 is worth a play there.
And Columbus 8th in goals for, 29th in goals against, and Montreal 31st in goals allowed, right behind the Pittsburgh Penguins there. So
all that adds up.
All of that adds up. Let's go to the Flyers and Nashville. The Predators minus 165 at home, the total 6. Do we trust Nashville? We still haven't had them completely turn it around for the power rating that we projected them to have with all the talent that they acquired this year.
No, you're right. They haven't got on that streak yet. They're 3-5-2 their last 10 games, but they're playing a weak Philadelphia team, and they should be the favorite, but you can't lay that price, I don't think. Philly's actually played slightly better in their road games than they have in their home games. But I really don't see anything there in that game. I know Nashville's gone under 3 straight at home. The number's right there. You have 6 under 32 and it's 6 under 20. 12-cent difference, just not enough to have a play. But this next game is going to be interesting.
Okay, Dallas minus 240 on the road in Chicago, total 6. Chicago's one of my favorite under teams as well. They're tied for 13th right now in goals allowed, averaging just 3 per game and scoring 31st, 2.33 goals per game. In Dallas, they're tied for 7th in goals for and 4th right now in goals against.
Well, they better be. They're your ATM machine. 9 straight unders and 5 straight under at home. Chicago has been paying off, betting them under. And your total 5 over, you can go under the 6, a full goal value. They need 7 tonight in that game. Good goaltending. Wow. So love that total. Love it under 6.
I am actually pretty shocked that it is sitting here at 6. Chicago Blackhawks team total under might be a great play too, because Dallas does tend to beat up on lesser teams, but I think at 6, I think we're good. I agree with you.
There's some 6 flats out there too, so it's just not, you don't have to lay a lot of juice. You can lay minus a dime on this spot, and 9 straight unders. I mean, we're talking about streaks and betting streaks. There's a streak to bet on. You should have been on it after 3. Always say the magic number is 3. That's what the baseball guys always did for years. Anybody that hit 3 wins, they bet on them the next game. 3 losses, they bet against that team the next game. So if you had done that here with Chicago, you've won 6 straight bets.
Wow. All right, let's try and make it 7 tonight. Winnipeg in Los Angeles. It's a pick 'em, minus 110, both sides. 5.5 is the total. Do we need any notes on this one? Winnipeg right now is tied for second in goals for, and they are first in goals against. They have bumped up to number 1 in my power ratings. I was conservative at first. I wanted to make sure this win streak was real, but the Jets are definitely the real deal here.
Amazing that you have them that high.
Yeah.
But yet we're only using $1.19 on Winnipeg, and the line is even lower.
Yeah.
It was at $1.13. So the Kings have been good at home, 6-2-1 this year. Talking about streaks going under, the Jets 3 in a row, but more importantly, 5 straight on the road.
Okay.
And the Kings 3 straight at home. So both teams looking at that under number. You have 5 under at minus 12, and it's 5.5 over. So there's really only a 7-cent edge there in the numbers. But when you look at the streaks, I think it's worth it. It's worth going under here, under 5.5.
And Hellebuck is definitely playing like the best goalie in the league right now. It's definitely in the conversation.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt about it. And the Kings have been a low-scoring team as well. Defensively, they've been good.
Yep.
Scoring hasn't been great. Less than 2.5 goals per game both ways.
Let's go to the Vegas Golden Knights in Colorado. Colorado minus 155, total 6.5. So I believe this is Vegas's last road game. Remember, they did go to overtime, if not a shootout, against the Flyers. Now they're in Colorado. We know these two teams do not like each other.
Really good teams. And talking about scoring, now you're talking about a team. 86 goals this year for Vegas.
Yep.
75 for Colorado. They've allowed 83, though.
Yes.
The Golden Knights are plus 18 differential for the year. Colorado minus 8. We have the Avalanche 131, and the number out there, $1.58. But the takeback's probably only $1.38, so there's really no value there. But we would lean to the Golden Knights.
Lean to the Golden Knights there. Anaheim Ducks, Seattle Kraken, 2 more games here. Seattle minus 190 at home, and the total 5.5 over. The Kraken, I mean, they're 20th right now in goals for and 8th in goals against. So they have been competitive in these games. But Anaheim, same thing, tied for 13th in goals against, 27th, though, in scoring. So
you're giving me a lot of plays today to bet because you're number 5.5 right now, 5.5 under minus 112. It is 5.5 over, so you can get even money. So it's only a 2-point difference, or 12. It's a 12-cent difference. I'm sorry, but the trends are there for both teams. Anaheim 4 straight unders, Seattle 6 straight unders. Both have gone under 4 straight home away. So under 5.5 for me in that one.
And the stats and all add up as well with these two teams playing better defensively than offensively. Last but not least, we've got the Ottawa Senators minus 210 on the road, and the total 6 flat against San Jose. Nothing really in this one. Maybe a little bit of a lean to the over.
I think it's a lean to the over. You have 6.3, which comes out to, I put on the sheet 6.5 under 30. It's really 6 over 40. The same. It could be either or. Could go either way. But if you use 6 over 40 and you're looking at 6 minus a nickel, you have a 35-cent play. So, home and away, or just the streak. It's no real streak, but Ottawa's gone over 2 in a row. San Jose went over their last game. Had a big fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Or third period. I think they scored 5 goals.
Yeah.
They scored 5 goals their last game in the third. So
they did.
Over 6 there in that game. And I know I'm going to be on San Jose because your grandfather loves betting that team. plus big money. We've hit some big numbers on them. We hit the last one. Might as well bet them again at home, getting a big price. If you can get a puck and a half plus a price, I think it's even worth it on San Jose.
I'm glad I put these goals for and goals against just right here with each team because, of course, I've been using them comparing as I adjust the numbers, but now seeing it. So both of these teams, I mean, the Senators 15th in goals for, but 24th in goals allowed, and then the Sharks are 26 in goals allowed. So that could help with that over as well, and it's just 6 there. So even if you tied.
How I bet? I'm going to bet 7 games here today. 8, wait a minute. Yeah, 8 games. 8 bets, maybe 9 with San Jose. I won't know any of these scores till tomorrow morning. So that's just the way I like to bet.
And I'll be sweating out
You'll be
each
sweating
and every one of them for you. So do you want to go to NBA or you want to touch on some college football really quick?
Let's do the NBA. We'll do the NBA and then we'll go to college football because we'll do the college football playoff and then we'll do the college football games and then we'll go over
NFL.
the Detroit and Chicago game.
Perfect. Okay.
Baltimore too.
We'll be a little bit quicker for NBA, but that was good getting caught up on hockey. So thank you everybody for hanging in there with us. We're going to the hardwood now with.
The good news is you have tomorrow off for hockey.
Yes.
No hockey tomorrow for you.
Yes. How many NBA games tomorrow on Thanksgiving?
Let me take a look. That's a good question.
I know they do tend to compete with the NFL on some of these big days. And I'm sure they have a couple really good matchups because that's what they do as well.
I don't think there's any NBA in the 28th.
No NBA either? Okay.
No, I think they're off.
That makes sense why we have
so many games today.
Yep, for both leagues.
I'm going to check. NBA, yeah, nothing on the 28th. So that's great news.
Okay, I'm going to give you the South Point number, and you can give us yours. I do have offense and defense efficiency for all of these teams if you want to check anything as we're going through as well, and that is from...
And I have my offensive and defensive efficiency numbers because I have my own. I adjust mine for who they played, and I think the ones you're grabbing maybe just an overall for the season because I do it game by game. Take an average of that. All right, let's do this.
Okay, here we go. We've got the Cavaliers at home. They are -10. The total 240.5 against the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, I made it 9.5 and 248.5. And Cleveland has been one of the best scoring teams in the league. This not being a tournament game,
right?
The Emirates Cup. I like it over. We know what we're going to get from Atlanta. We get it game in and game out from them. Up tempo, and Cleveland will be more than happy to run with them.
Okay, over 240.5. That's the first play on the board for the NBA. Portland Trailblazers in Indiana. Indiana laying 10.5 here. 232.5 is the total.
I made this game Indiana 10 and 236.5. So at 232, I'm leaning to the over, very close to having another overplay there. We know Indiana loves to run. I'm glad the numbers have been adjusted because I was under on them a couple times. They just haven't had the fastest pace in the world, but they're at an even 100. They're about average pace-wise. Both teams are better offensively than they are on the defensive end. So I'm not really interested in too much. If there was a play, it'd be maybe the Indiana team total over.
I was thinking that. Houston Rockets at Philadelphia. Sixers are getting 5 here at home. The total 218.5. So Rockets -5.
You know I love the Rockets, but what happened to them last night? They just played a huge game that gets them into the Emirates Cup, overtime, on the road, and now they have to travel to Philadelphia. I know Embiid's probably out. He is. Paul George is out. Man, oh man, I have to adjust my number for those 2 injuries, and I do have this Houston team ranked so much higher, but this total at 218.5 is too high. I have it much lower. I'm going to have Houston the favorite in this game and maybe have it higher, but I don't think Houston shows up for this game.
Maybe a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah, I think they have a huge letdown. I just don't think they show up here. I don't think they have anything to play for. It's a non-conference game, and after winning last night's game, that was so big. So Philadelphia, even with the injuries, Tyrese Maxey hopefully will be a one-man show and win the game by himself.
So lean to the Sixers there, but there's a lot of other good plays. So let's keep going. Chicago Bulls in Orlando. Orlando minus 10.5. That's the key number. Today's 10. Total 224.5.
I have 9 and 115.5. Pace-wise, Orlando looks like they've been a little slow.
Wait, 215.5?
I have 215.5, yeah.
Wow.
And it's 223.5. So I got an 8-point underplay there. I'm just looking at these teams. Orlando plays such good defense, and they control the pace. Chicago wants to run and go up tempo, and that could lead to some scoring here in this game. But Orlando's the better team, and I think they control the pace here. So I trust my number in it, and I would go under the 223.
Right now, number 1 in defense efficiency. Is that what your numbers say as well?
I don't have them ranked, but they're only allowing 105 points per, and that is not number 1. Houston, I have 104.3.
Wow.
So I think I would have Houston number 1 defense and Orlando number 2.
Okay. Los Angeles Clippers at Washington. Clippers minus 10.5 on the road. Total in this one is 223.
Not much there, so we can move on. Clippers, I have 11 and 219.5.
Okay. Miami minus 3.5 on the road against Charlotte. Total 217.5 in this one.
Well, 2 teams that play extremely slow. 2 of the slower teams in the NBA. My total in this game, I made Miami 5.5 and 205.5. But again, they had a tough game last night versus Milwaukee. Even without Giannis, they lost. I'm shocked. They lose that game. That might be a little letdown for them. Charlotte's really been a 2-man show. Miller and LaMelo Ball have been really good, but again, they play very slow. My total 205.5. I will go under there. LaMelo
Ball is the Joe Burrow of the NBA.
Is he?
Yes.
What's that mean? No respect?
No. He's had crazy stats and crazy games, and he's like one of the first players to do all of this in one game and lose the game.
Yes.
And that's like Joe Burrow.
Oh, okay. I think he had 49 the other night and then 44. He's put some incredible numbers up. He can really score.
And the team still lost, right?
And they've lost, yeah.
I just want to go back really quick because we did forget with that Orlando and Chicago game. Chicago playing on a back-to-back. They had a big win over Washington yesterday, so maybe even more. I
already have that factored in my number.
Okay.
I factored in. I know they got away to away. Washington, we went over that game. They were playing home to home. I don't take anything off that because they were still at home. And then Miami, home to away, I did factor in a 2.5 point difference, or I would have had this game much higher. I still have 5.5, but it could be a letdown game too, because like I said, a lot of meaning in last night's games.
Absolutely. Let's go to the Knicks and the Mavs. What a good game for this one. New York, 4-point favorite on the road, total 233.5.
Wow. High totals. Let me double check and just make sure that, Doncic is out with the wrist injury. Without him, man, I had that already factored in. The Knicks 4.5, 221.5. Again, Knicks are playing a slow pace, 96.6, one of the slowest ones in the NBA. Thibodeau's always talked defense, but they do have a tremendous offense. They really do. They do score a lot of points. But on the road at Dallas has a good defense, even without Doncic in there.
Well, he doesn't really play defense.
He doesn't play. He right? actually does a little bit. He's a slightly above average defensive player.
Okay.
It's his scoring that he's so much better of a player. But he actually does play defense, and he can play defense. So, but I think you're losing a lot of scoring without him in the lineup.
Yes.
So, I'm under the 233.
Okay, I don't hate that at all. Toronto Raptors at New Orleans. Let's check out this line here. The Pelicans, 3-point favorite at home. The total 222.5.
Well, I'm going to have a big underplay here. Again, the Pelicans have been the G League team or the D League, the development team, but then they got to check injuries. Murray, the point guard, will be back, and Ingram is questionable. Looks like he'll play. Williamson's still out, Alvarado out, and Jones out. So I'll have to redo my number on that game, but I don't think the total is going to come up high enough to take me off this total. I'm still going to bet it under. I've got such a big difference of 196.5, but Murray being back and Ingram being back will boost this about 9 points. I'm still only going to be in about the 206 range.
Wow. Okay, so an under in that one as well. Let's go to the Pistons and the Grizzlies. Memphis -8 at home, total 225.5.
Right there. I mean, it's 7.5 and 222.5.
Okay. Sacramento, Minnesota. Timberwolves 3.5 at home, total 217.
I made it 5 and 225.5. So maybe we can get an overplay here. Minnesota coming off the overtime loss in such a big game. Maybe they don't show up here in this spot. I don't like it. I have them higher, but I won't play that game. I would look for more of a letdown. But that leads me to the total over. These are two really good scoring teams.
Do you have your opening number on your sheet? Because it looks like the books opened it higher, right? And it's just been one-way traffic under.
Oh, a lot under. Oh, down to 217, you said. Yeah, there was this total opened 223.5 here at the South Point. Injury-wise, no DeRozan. And that's it. Basically, that's the only one that's there. I'm really surprised. Somebody likes this under. I'm not sure if it's the fact that Minnesota played last night at home and overtime, but they were at home. I've studied this over the years. When you're a basketball player, can you imagine how many games they play? You know, have you ever gone to a court and played when you were playing?
Yeah.
And you play game after game after game after game after game. Winner stays on. We got next.
Right.
And that's your break is in between that game. It's the travel what gets them. It's not playing games. It's the travel. If you're sitting at home and playing at home and you play the next day at home, these guys have been doing that their entire life.
Right.
So there is nothing to take away from Minnesota on this game tonight. So if you think that they're not going to score because they played last night, I think you're wrong. I think they could be just as good. And if they have tired legs,
they'll play
it
worse
takes away from the defense.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. And, the bookmakers are pretty good at this, huh? So sometimes.
Yeah, so they're on our, we're on the side of the bookmakers at 223.5. I'm not sure who likes it under and who pounded this under, but that's a big move, and I think it's the wrong move. Looking at my cross-reference score on the year is 114.5 to 109. That's 123.5. And then using my offense, defense, and pace, it comes out to 222.5. So all three of my numbers are higher than what this is. Now, if Mike Brown said in the paper today, in the Sacramento paper, and he said, we're going to stop running, we're going to play slow down basketball and control the pace, then we've got the wrong number and we don't have the right information.
But all three do have a nice 5-point difference there from that
all
217.
Numbers, all in the numbers say this is an overplay.
The Lakers laying 2 in San Antonio against the Spurs, total 228.
Lakers the favorite. I have San Antonio the favorite, 3.5 and 234. So even a little bit of an overplay and definitely a play on my San Antonio Spurs. This is, let me check just to make sure we don't have any injuries in the game that mean anything. Davis is probable, and that's it. Even Bass will be back tonight for San Antonio. So, yeah, give me the Spurs plus the points in that one.
Amazing.
And over.
Amazing. Only 10 teams played yesterday, and these two happened to play yesterday and now play each other today. So
yeah, both played yesterday, that's for sure.
So it kind of cancels each other out, right?
Well, going back home helps the Spurs.
Okay.
So I did make a 2-point adjustment against the Lakers because the Lakers were playing road to road.
Mm-hmm.
They had to go to another hotel where San Antonio flew back home and they went to their own house. So that's a benefit as well, that it's not that big of a deal. So yeah, like it over. My number, the cross-reference, only 226.5, so not quite as high. But Spurs, pace-wise, Lakers pace-wise, they're just about average, but both their offenses have been good. The Lakers' defense has been horrendous. That's the one telling point for me. Bad defensive team on the road. Yeah, give me the Spurs and give me the over. I'm very comfortable with both.
It's dunks and threes, right? That's that site I'm using from Ken Palm. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have the Lakers 7th right now in offense efficiency and 18th in defense efficiency.
Yeah, I think they're even worse than that defensively in myself.
Let's go to the Nuggets and the Jazz. Denver minus 9.5 on the road, total 232.
Yeah, not quite as high.
Total or side?
Gordon, I only have 4 on the side.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think the Jazz are that bad of a basketball team. Lauri Markkanen was out for a stretch, and he's worth 4.5 points. Now, he's listed with a knee injury, is questionable for the game, so I believe he's playing. I think tonight they could be the healthiest they've ever been with all of their guys in the lineup. So Aaron Gordon, I think, is just such a big piece for Denver.
Yeah.
My total in this game, 230, and it is 231 right now here at the South Point. So I'm right there on the total, but I do like I like the Jazz plus the points.
2 more games on the slate for us. Brooklyn Nets at Phoenix. The Suns minus 8.5, total 219.
I have Phoenix 9 and 12.5, but the one thing you got to check in this game with Durant coming back last night, there's no injury information on him, but playing back to back, I'm not sure if he plays. I just don't, even though they were home last night and he played, I don't know if they're home. I just don't think he plays tonight.
Yeah.
That's the way the NBA has been. When a guy's been out, they don't want him playing back-to-back nights. So I don't think he plays. I have 9 with him in. The number is 8.5. But if news comes out today, Durant's out, I'm going to make this game about 5 and would love to take 8.5 with the Nets.
Well, especially they do have tomorrow off, so give him a little bit of extra rest time after his first game back.
No doubt. I just don't think he plays today.
Last game on the board, we've got OKC and Golden State. We've got the Thunder 2.5 on the road, total 229.5. This should be a really good game.
Yeah, it should be. I'm really a little surprised that Oklahoma City could be a favorite in this game. Chet Holmgren's been out. Caruso's been out. They are playing the Warriors, who are playing great basketball. I made the Warriors 2 and 236. And I worry about the total a little bit because this is such a big matchup, and these are 2 very good defensive teams, but they're 2 very good offensive teams. I do like the side better. You want to give me 2.5 with Steph Curry here, I'll take it.
I'm with you. I think that is a great play there. We're going to take a 1-minute break, and when we come back, we're going to look at that playoff scenario from last night, and then we've got 4 games to go over that were requested. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Sports by the Book.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza. We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio. Again, I just want to remind everybody, today at 2 p.m., we will have Sports by the Book Football Frenzy here with Jeff Parles and the guys from Behind the Book, Chris Andrews, Vinny, and Jimmy will all be here with you to go over college football for an hour and NFL for an hour, one of the best shows on YouTube. So make sure you come back 2 p.m. today, 2 p.m. Pacific time, and check out that show. Quick shout out to everybody in the chat. Actually, you know what? First, before we go there, because I'll forget this if not. College rivalry jackpot parlay card. This is your last week to get it in. It is for all games this weekend, only Saturday, so you don't have to pick any Friday games, but just pick the winner. You don't have to pick against the spread. $25,000 guaranteed, $5 per ticket. You can fill out as many as you want here at the South Point or at the Rampart. So make sure you get those done. Just 3 more days to do that. I guess if you want to come early on Saturday, you could do that as well. Now, quick shout out to everybody in our chat with Ryan, Dean Hilt, Bob Custer, some of our regulars. We do appreciate you. Bill, Damien, welcome in. Agent 87 is back, and I hope I got everybody there. Vince, good. Okay. So some people that are in the chat, I am excited to see your name pop up because we do have some games to get to that you requested. And we will do that right after we take a look here at the playoff prediction from last night. So Ryan did a great job. He made us some graphics of our own that we can use and we can check out who they have matched up if it were to start tomorrow. But you made lines for us, which I am very intrigued about. And you also made a case for 1 or 2 teams for a future. I really liked one of them. I'm going to jump on right after this show and go bet that one. But let's start. Arizona State, Ohio State right now projected as a matchup in the first round.
Yeah, so Ohio State doesn't get a bye, but they actually get a bye. I make them 27-point favorite at home against Arizona State, total of 54.5. So it's a blowout. They're just so much better than Arizona State, both sides of the football. There'll be a lot of pressure on the Arizona State quarterback here. Ohio State just has too much NFL talent, so easy win for the Buckeyes.
Let's go Tennessee and Georgia. This would be a rematch from a game we've already seen this year.
It is, and we can't really give revenge factor, even though Tennessee lost to Georgia. It was in Georgia. They were expected to lose. This is a big game. I don't factor that in. I'll make Georgia 10 here and 154. So I have the Bulldogs moving on. 10,
okay. Indiana and Penn State. So this would actually be a Big Ten matchup, but these two did not play each other this year.
No, they did not. Penn State, I would have 11, though, and 51. We just saw what happened in Indiana. They've been a great story, but when they step up in class on the road, it's awfully difficult. Then they would be stepping up here. Now, at least they do have the fortune of playing Ohio State. And again, I always say you learn more about yourself from a loss than a win. So maybe we will see some improvement from them. Maybe I can make a small adjustment and make this a little bit lower, down to 7.5 or 8.5 in that range. But Penn State still wins, moves on.
I can imagine Kirk Cignetti being a little more aggressive in that one. Probably learned that from that Ohio State game. But let's go to SMU and Notre Dame. Now, this one you would have as a much closer game.
Yeah, much closer game. And I talked about this morning that I think they need to add a rule, the NCAA, to this playoff, that if you're not in a conference, you don't get a bye. You need to force Notre Dame to get into a conference.
Or you don't get to be at home. Maybe.
Yeah, at home, right, at home. Yes, that's what I really meant. You don't get a bye and you don't get to be at home.
Yeah.
So they should not have a home game. SMU has played in a conference all year. When you play in a conference, you're playing a much more difficult schedule. Notre Dame adds some good teams to their schedule, but they haven't played that tough of a season against that big of a schedule. They're playing USC this week. We'll see what happens on the road. That's going to be a tough game. I make Notre Dame at home 7-54. If the rule was in place that if you're an independent, you don't get a home game, SMU would be the favorite here, 1.5.
Okay, SMU is the favorite. So you have them moving on, the Mustangs.
I have Notre Dame moving on because they're playing at home.
Okay, because they're at home. Okay, we'll go to Ohio State. If they move on, they will play against Boise State.
Might be another bye. Boise State's got a great running back, but that's what they are. Ohio State much better in both trenches. I'd have the Buckeyes on a neutral 16-point favorite. Let's move Ohio State on.
Okay, let's go Georgia and Oregon.
You flip the coin. Both these are very evenly matched teams. Now, when I flip the coin, I think it's shaded to Georgia. They've been there before, done this before. They're a really good football team. So I think Georgia will be the team to move on.
This should be interesting. Penn State and Miami.
Yeah, another great game. This will be a very, very competitive game and a high-scoring one, too. I have Miami 1.5, 62.5. We'll move Miami on just for that fact.
And they have the better quarterback, I'd say. Drew Aller's been very good.
Drew Aller's been very good, but yeah, Cam Ward going to be the higher quarterback in the draft.
Okay, so we moved Notre Dame on because they were at home. Now they face Texas.
And Texas is a team I said when they lost to Georgia that they were going to get better. I've really kind of suppressed their rating and have been very conservative on moving it up. I could have them right now tied with Ohio State for the best team in the country. But at the rating they're at on a neutral, I have them 5 over Notre Dame. So we're moving Texas on to play Miami.
Okay, and we're just going off of favorites moving on right now. But you
Correct.
already said weeks ago there could be a lot of upsets on the way here. But
I think there will be.
Okay, so now let's go back to the top. We have Ohio State playing against Georgia because of the experience.
Yeah, another great game. I'd have the Buckeyes a 1.5 favorite, so it is a coin flip game. And we talk about it. Could there be an upset in this bracket? For me, it would be Tennessee over Georgia.
Yeah.
In that first game because they have played before. So that could be the upset in that bracket.
Oh, give me Tennessee and Oregon. That sounds like a fascinating, high-scoring game.
It really would be fun. And Oregon would be the favorite in that game.
Bigger favorite than they
or you could see Oregon move on, or Tennessee pulls back-to-back upsets.
So Miami and Texas, how big of a spread would you make Texas?
I've got the Longhorns -3 over Miami, but coaching-wise, I'll take Sarkisian. I think that's a huge edge in that game against Miami. So if there could be upsets, SMU to upset Notre Dame. And who knows, maybe Indiana could Cignetti, like I said, learning from that loss could make the Hoosiers better. And maybe there's an upset there. It could be Indiana, Miami. Boy, Cignetti out coaching Cristobal. And the Cinderella story continues. It could happen. I would love it because if Texas was to play SMU, to beat them, and they got Indiana, they'd be a bigger favorite. But just moving the favorites on, Texas 3 over Miami sets up our championship game, Ohio State and Texas.
And I absolutely love this right now. Ohio State at the South Point, they are 3-1 plus 300. Texas is 5-1 plus 500. I have already decided I'm going to bet on Ohio State. But I guess we do need to talk about a scenario where if they beat Oregon and now they have a bye and they're waiting in the wings, are they going to be in that tougher spot and have Tennessee or Georgia?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. They'd want to be where they're at right now.
Right.
If they could say, oh, yes, give us Arizona State at home and then Boise State. Are you kidding me? Instead of playing Tennessee and Oregon?
So that's tough. But I feel like whenever I have futures and we get down to the last game, championship game, I always end up having the underdog. And then there's nothing I can really do to hedge and have a little bit on the other side. But if I had Ohio State, even getting down to the championship game, I would have an opportunity to take a little bit of a plus money line on the other side.
Yeah, we're always looking for value. And the favorites, there usually isn't much value on them because everybody knows who the best teams are.
Right.
And everybody are betting on those teams. But again, my numbers in this bracket say Ohio State should be about plus 260.
Okay.
And you're getting 3-1.
Okay.
Texas, I think, should be plus 350. And you said I can get 5-1. So sign me up for Texas. It's a team I mentioned many moons ago after the loss to Georgia at home. They were going to get better. And I really think they have. I think they're the point where they're as good as Ohio State.
And I'm sorry, everybody who is watching. It's already 9:52. I just realized the time, and we still have games to get to. But I have more questions, and I want to know, and I don't want to knock your team off with the Longhorns here, but is there a scenario where Notre Dame gets past SMU and then Notre Dame upsets Texas to set up Miami to have a nice, easy route to get to the championship game there?
No doubt it could happen. I have Notre Dame 7. I think they play Texas, and Texas, I only have a 5-point favorite on a neutral against Notre Dame. So, yeah, that's very easily could be an upset there. But as I said, SMU upsetting Notre Dame could be an upset too.
So really, I mean, we kind of tread lightly, get your futures in, but maybe not huge bets, and there is still a possibility Ole Miss could sneak in here, but
I'd love for them to do that. I think looking at Alabama at 40-1 right now, they could beat any one of these teams. As long as Jalen Milroe plays well, they could beat anybody here on the schedule.
Well, it should be interesting. There, a lot could happen this weekend, just like last weekend. Nobody was really expecting Alabama and Ole Miss to lose outright.
Right. No, nobody did.
So we'll see what happens.
Well, I kind of did. I thought Alabama was going to be in for a big game. I didn't think Ole Miss was going to lose.
No, I did not either. But okay, let's go to our game request. We'll start off with college football since we are right here, and we'll go with the first game that I requested. We won't spend too much time on it, but it is South Carolina and Clemson. And it's funny because our other recommendation was Louisville and Kentucky. So we have 2 games here where we have an ACC team against an SEC team. And I think that has to definitely be considered when we're looking at these matchups, which scares me because I do have Clemson as a bigger favorite than what the books have. But after diving into this, I don't necessarily know if I'm going to lay the points here with Clemson with what my numbers say, or if I'm just going to stay off of it, because South Carolina, the form that they are in right now and the way that they are playing, they've been an outstanding defense. So what do you think? Where do you want to start with this game?
Well, I'll start with my number. That
Okay.
I made Clemson 11 and 61.5.
And do you know what Clemson is?
No. Well, I have it here on the sheet that I thought the 2.5. I have them open 5, bet down to 2.5.
Ooh, okay, open 5. So we're closer to where the bookmakers are.
I didn't factor in on my sheet, power rating sheet that I sent out. This has been a really busy week. I'm sure Clemson has revenge, and they do. I have it right on my this sheet that I wanted to talk about. So I'd have to make that adjustment down to 8.5, take my 20% off, about 1.5. So my real number, Clemson -7.
Wait, who has revenge?
South Carolina has revenge. They lost at home last year.
Okay.
16-7.
Okay.
The quarterback numbers, Cade Klubnik has been the real deal. His numbers have to put him up in the draft. He is a junior. 29 touchdown passes, just 4 INTs.
Yes.
2,761 passing yards, 7.5 yards a pass. He's the real deal. I'm not sure where he's at in the quarterback draft, but I got to believe he should be way up there. He has been the difference maker for this Clemson team this year. These are my best bets. Anytime I have a team more than a touchdown and I can lay less than a field goal. So if that's still at 2.5, I love it.
Do you have your performance rating? Because I'm with you. I mean, I think that 2.5 is a great number here for Clemson. I just worry with South Carolina winning 5 in a row. And then Lenora Seller's been very good too. His numbers are pretty good. 17-6 ratio there, 8.6 yards per attempt, completing 65% of his passes. And that revenge
dual
there.
Threat quarterback, second leading rusher.
But South Carolina performance rating last few games.
I don't even really want to talk about that.
Oh, okay. So it is good.
Yeah, it's really
so
good.
So they are good.
And I love Shane Beamer, and you look at the performance rating, 119 and a half, 4 points better South Carolina they've performed than their rating, where Clemson has really underperformed, especially down the stretch. They're a 113 performance rating, but I have them a 121. They played some really good games in the middle of the year. They lost early to Georgia, did not look good, but then they ran off 6 straight wins and then a home loss to Louisville.
Yep.
It was a terrible loss. responded with wins over Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh, and then last week Citadel. But they didn't play great in those games.
But they will be ready for this one.
Oh,
and it is a rivalry.
This is the biggest game of the year. They need to win this game. Have we not even talked about Clemson in the national championship bracket? I didn't even mention that. How did they not get in with a win here and a win in the ACC title game?
They do get in with both of those wins, yeah.
What did they to win? You got the list right there. What is Clemson to win the national championship?
Clemson is 60-1.
Sign me up. Sign me up for Clemson at 60-1.
So I just had to bring up their performance rating in the last 5 games because we're always trying to look for reasons to bet something or reasons to get off of it. So that was one that we would be on the other side. One that I think we could make the argument for Clemson is their first game of the year. You talked about it. They played Georgia. It was 0-0 after the first half or something very close to that and tied. So they played a tough first half against Georgia, and then they were outgained 447 to 188, and it was just all Bulldogs from there. But they can learn from that loss and playing up in talent level there with Georgia and be more prepared for this SEC competitor, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's a long time ago. I mean, that's 14 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So they performed. They're playing really good. I mean, they're doing what they have to do to win, but winning is something you should give a team credit for as well. Now, South Carolina's done that. They've won 5 in a row. They've covered 5 of their last 6. Clemson has not been covering spreads, and that's why my performance rating's lower at 2 and 5. But I know this coach, Dabo Swinney, knows how to coach. His teams have continuity, and if they have a quarterback, you mentioned Sellers' numbers, and they are very good, the quarterback for South Carolina. But it's still only a 3-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about 7-1 for Cade Klubnik. This is professional quarterback numbers. This is Aaron Rodgers type of numbers. The better quarterback on the better team playing at home, laying less than a field goal. And I think they win the ACC championship because of those factors. And that's why I love them at 60-1. We may have found our team.
Might have to find some ACC odds as well then, because I know that it is Miami, then SMU, then Clemson to win the ACC. So you might have some value there.
I'll have to look and see what the road is if Clemson can still win it, but they may not be able to.
SMU might have to lose this weekend, actually. So it might not. They might not control their own destiny there in that one. But let's move. SMU's in no matter what. Okay. So Miami needs to be upset by Syracuse. There it is.
Oh, that can really happen. That could happen.
Another quarterback you like, Kyle McCord, who can throw it around the field. Yeah.
And it is my favorite coach, Mario Cristobal. Great line coach, great recruiter, but he just doesn't develop players and make them better. They're on the road. I have Miami 11-point favorite on the road at Syracuse, and that's what the line is. But it's not going to shock me if they lose. So I guess you can bet a parlay on that. If you could parlay Syracuse winning to Clemson winning the national championship, you're going to get like 500-1 odds.
Oh my gosh.
You know there's books out there that'll let you do that.
Okay.
So
well, I'll have to write that down. All right, we have one more ACC and SEC matchup with Louisville and Kentucky right now, or the numbers I found yesterday. Louisville was 3.5 on the road, total 48.5. The main thing in this one is Kentucky quarterback change, right? Brock Vandergriff was benched in the second half against Texas last week. So it was announced that this week they will be going with their freshman quarterback who did jump in that game against Texas. So he has a little bit of experience there. On the flip side with Louisville, we just talked about them upsetting Clemson a few weeks ago, playing some pretty good football here. Tyler Shuck has been very good for them. 63% of his passes, 8.3 yards per attempt. 23-6. I know you like that ratio as well. So what do you think in this one? I do have this more of a pick, but I didn't adjust for the quarterback play. So I'm curious if there is a big drop off here and we need to make that adjustment on Kentucky's number.
Yeah, there is a big drop off, but Vandergriff has not performed up to his number. So at the beginning of the year, I would have said it's a 4.5 point drop off, but right now I'll say it's a 3 point drop off. so you can make that adjustment. And, I'm working back and forth on different sheets. I want to see if I have that adjustment, because I have Kentucky 1, and I don't like that at all. There is home revenge. Louisville lost 38-31 last year. They have all of the incentive in this game, being the little guy looking up at Big Brother, because Kentucky would be Big Brother in this rivalry. And Jeff Brom's a great coach. So is Mark Stoops for Kentucky, but they've been disappointing. Yeah. 1-5 down the stretch. Now they have covered 3 in a row, Kentucky. But Louisville has played well. I mentioned the upset over Clemson. A tough loss to Stanford. They had the letdown. There's the letdown. You beat Clemson, and then you lose to Stanford. And that was on the road. And that's the one negative. Jeff Brom is 2-9 ATS on the road. Ooh. That hurts. But Stoops has not had a winning record at home, so he's done better in his road games. I think all the check marks add up to Louisville here. I just don't think it's a game that,
Kentucky is the better defense.
Got 4 wins this year, Kentucky.
They do.
They're done for the year. This is their last game. We could say it's their Super Bowl, but they needed to beat Texas last week, and they didn't. Yep. And now they're going to the freshman quarterback to see what they have. It's a big drop-off. Big quarterback edge. You got the revenge factor. Louisville's going bowling. And I don't know, Kentucky could be down. They could be down, and even though it's their last game, they may not perform here.
So really, though, it's not a play for you, because it would be a play on taking the points with Kentucky. You just tucked yourself off of it.
I have Louisville 7 points better. Now that I look at my numbers on the bottom of my sheet, I have Louisville 7 points better in talent and the home revenge factor. I mean, this Louisville's the favorite, though, right?
Yep.
They should be. They have to be.
Yep.
They're just
3.5.
They're just better football team. So they're 3.5.
Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't even give any home here. I don't know if Kentucky even shows up. I really don't. This is their last game. This is a bad year for this team. And they were good early on, but that defense has not been as good as of late as they were early in the year. Mm-hmm. I really love Louisville here.
Okay, there it is. The Cardinals in that one as well. We're going to skip Notre Dame and USC. I requested that one, but I don't know if you actually filled that one out, or we're going to save it for your Bet the Gambit later today.
Yeah, I can do that today.
Okay, because I do want to get to these 2 NFL, and we can go kind of quick, because I know you will cover this one too if people want to tune in to Bet the Gambit on YouTube as well. 3 p.m. today, and you'll be going over all 3 NFL games for tomorrow.
Yep.
So
Turkey Day.
For Turkey Day, yes. So let's go to Chicago Bears and the Lions. The Lions are a big favorite here at home, as they should be with the way that they are playing. But the Bears have been very competitive. As long as you got that 3.5 last week against the Vikings, then you did cover. So that looks like most of the 10s are gone. I see 1 at Caesars. Here at the South Point, though, 9.5. So if you want to lay it with the Lions, this is the better number. If you want the dog, I see some other spots where you can get that 10, but the total in this one has been bumped up as well, currently sitting at 48 here at the South Point.
Division game, we are going to definitely see this Detroit team fired up. They haven't won a Thanksgiving Day game since 2016.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
It has been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Courtesy of Ken Murphy. Told me that yesterday. Looked up the situational stuff. This is the best team they've ever had. They're the best team in the NFL right now. They've never had the best team in the NFL. They're playing great on both sides of the football. Caleb Williams has had a decent year, but on the road, in my ratings, he has performed 5 points below the average NFL quarterback on the road. At home, he's 3 points above average.
Okay.
But he's a 7.5 point difference overall, home and away. And he's on the road in a spot where he's against the better team and maybe the number 1 defense in the NFL right now, even without Hutchinson. I think all of the incentives on both teams, but I think Detroit will get the lead early, and this will be a blowout.
Can we come up with a number to give the dog for division games?
I don't think so.
Because I
know they're going to play
made the
hard.
Lions 14 in this game, but I was trying to make a case for the Bears here, and I mean they do have a good defense, but you brought up Caleb Williams' numbers and how they are home and away. I was looking just at current form. The last 2 games, he's completed 71% of his passes, 7.3 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, no INTs in the last 2 games. And those were both division games. Were they both at home?
They played 2 really tough games back to back with Green Bay and Minnesota, but they've been home 3 straight.
And now they're on the road.
Now they're going out on the road.
What's that, Ryan? Oh.
I like those factors when somebody does get fired.
But that is what you just said about the Lions haven't won since 2016.
Yeah, they split last year too, so there's no revenge factor that you could give in this game. They both won on their home fields. I think Dan Campbell, his teams, we know they play hard. 37-17 ATS coming into this year, and he is 9-2 this year. This guy's incredible. It's just.
Well, and I saw a clip that just 2 years ago, it was just 2 years ago when they had 1 win and how many losses, and that's when he got really emotional. He was like, we're just like 1 play away. I know it. And then these last 2 years have just been.
Why is nobody talking about Dan Campbell's ATS for 46-19? 46, and all he does is win. He wins and covers spreads. He really is a great coach.
I just remembered somebody asked us on the chat, is this a good same game teaser game?
I made it 53 the total. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Detroit and over.
And I think that's exactly what they had asked. So I'm glad I just remembered that.
And even if it snows, they're still going to score that many points because it's indoors. Thanks, Ryan.
All right, we have one more game, and then we'll get everybody out of here, including our staff. Thank you for hanging with us this extra 10 minutes. But let's go to.
It's almost time for turkey.
It is. We're almost there. Philadelphia Eagles at Baltimore. The Ravens 3-point favorite at home in this one. Total 51.5. Ravens short week for them. Just played on Monday night against the Chargers. Let's break down this game. Philly is playing very good football right now, and really it's been their defense that has turned it around since the bye week, and Vic Fangio, DC first year there for the Eagles, and it's taken a little time, but now their defense has completely turned it around. Can they stop this Baltimore Ravens offense, though?
Yeah, they can keep them off the field. All the tangibles go to the Eagles. They were out west as well. They just played the Rams. But the Baltimore, the Harbaugh Bowl takes a lot out of you. You won the game, travel home. Philadelphia is going to take a bus to this game. Nice and easy, no airports, no flying. And they're on the hot streak. They're the hottest team in the NFL right now, 7-game winning streak. I think it's a really good spot for Philadelphia in this game.
So I do have one thing to try and keep you off of this game, and we'll see how you feel about this. Lamar Jackson is 23-3 against NFC opponents.
It's a pretty good record, 23-3.
And
it's a nice sample size.
And 2 of those losses were in 2018. They were like 2 of the first games he played against NFC teams. So but an argument for that I could say is there are more quarterbacks with the skill set like Lamar Jackson these days, way more dual threat that can run the football. So they actually see more quarterbacks like that, right?
Yeah.
Where for a while it was preparing
right.
for him was very hard.
Right. Now you're kind of preparing for that kind of quarterback week in and week out.
Right.
So, yeah, that very well could be.
Plus, they don't have to cover, which we know the Ravens have not been a great cover team this year either. So you like the 3 points here with the Eagles.
Yeah, I do. Just the situational factors with Baltimore playing that Harbaugh game and then coming home. Eagles have an extra day. They played Sunday instead of Monday. And I like the way they're playing. Philadelphia has just been outstanding. They've been outscoring for the entire year. They're outscoring their opponents' median numbers by 10 a game and Baltimore 6 a game. Performance numbers, I have Philadelphia 3.5 points better.
Oh, okay.
Power rating wise, I don't.
Yeah.
Because I do have a high rating on Baltimore. I'm a big John Harbaugh fan. Like I said, I think his defense is underrated. I think their defense is better than what people think they are. But Philadelphia has been as well. Philadelphia has allowed in their last 7 games of this winning streak, 16, 3, 17, 23 was the most they allowed, 6, 18, and 20. But man, when I look at that schedule, they didn't play anybody. The Browns, the Giants, the Bengals, the Jaguars, Cowboys, Commanders, and Rams. And I don't count the Commanders being as good or the Rams being as good because Commanders have been on a losing streak now that people have seen Daniels. So not the greatest schedule, an average schedule. Baltimore has played the better schedule, but I still think the Eagles are really improving. So is Baltimore, but that win over the Chargers was big for John Harbaugh.
I had to finish writing my plays there. I have one more question for you about this game. And we'll have to look into it more, but could there be some kind of competition here with Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley with their new teams? A lot of attention on both of these guys and what they have done. So maybe looking at some running back props for those two.
That's one thing. Both these teams can run the football, and they're going to run it. They've got great running backs, quarterbacks that can run. So, yeah, I would look at some props there. I haven't done those yet, but I'll take a look at those.
Okay, and while you go ahead and fill out your board and your best plays for today, which somehow I now have 5 for today, I'm going to just go through the chat again really quick and see if I missed anybody, but Chris Brady is in there, gave out some of his plays. I love it. Ryan brought up Lamar Jackson. Oh, thank you, Ryan. Correction there with Lamar Jackson, 23-1 against NFC teams. So, Bob, Damian, I think I hit everybody so far that we have seen. And Dean Hilt said a happy Thanksgiving to everybody here.
23-1, is that straight up? As a starter. Yeah. Straight up as a starter. So he may not, I mean, he's probably a favorite in every one of those games, so that's still pretty impressive. But he could still win this game and you don't cash a ticket.
Right.
The Eagles,
yes.
They could win by 1 or 2.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a close game. Like you said, they're going to both run the ball. I mean, that 51.5 is even pretty high for the way that both teams want to play. I did make it 51.5 though, so there's no.
Yeah, I made it 53, but I could make a case for the under as well because they're going to run the ball and the clock's going to be moving. But you got 2 great quarterbacks, and I love going over with 2 great quarterbacks. So you got to check the weather in that game as well.
And it has worked out this year as well. Again, one more reminder to come fill out your parlay cards here for the last week of college football. $5, guaranteed $25,000. Could be more than that. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Please like, share, and subscribe. Come back at 2 p.m. for Football Frenzy. We're going to zoom in on both of. Do you have all of yours done?
Yeah, I have all mine. Yeah, I have 2 sides because I'm going to give you 4 plays today and 3 plays for football.
Okay, I'm going to take off my. Oh, you went football already too. I just have for today. So I do have 2 NBA. I am going Golden State Warriors here, getting the 2.5. Sorry, we're zooming in on yours first. So you go ahead.
Well, I'll give you Miami and Charlotte under 218. Toronto and New Orleans under 222.5, the Warriors plus 2.5, and the one hockey game, Dallas and Chicago under 6. They're both on a run. And let me, while you got me here, the free football games I like to give you for the weekend: Clemson minus 2.5, Detroit Lions minus 9.5 tomorrow, and the Eagles plus 3 on Sunday.
Very good. I'm actually going to do that same game teaser because I do like those. So I'm going to tease the Lions down and the total down and get over a little bit. Do I want to go down or up? Detroit is more of Chicago is more of an under team. They do have a good defense.
Need 42 points at home, and if they get a big lead,
that's true.
They will give some points up. Just Williams will put some garbage time points up.
We need to look at how many games in a row, too. Actually, Montgomery is questionable. We need to check on him. But there have been a few games in a row that both Gibbs and Montgomery have scored. But here's my plays for the day. So I do have one the same as you have, the Warriors plus 2.5. I really like this Orlando and Chicago under. Chicago playing on back-to-back nights. Orlando, one of the top defenses in the league. And then NHL, same as you. I do like the Stars and Blackhawks under 6. And then I'm going with this one too. Anaheim and Seattle Kraken under 5.5. I know 5.5 is scary, but we'll get there. 2-1 final for that one. So that's it for us.
Don't you
for the week?
You got to make a 3-team parlay. Syracuse on the money line, Clemson money line to Clemson winning the national championship. If anybody will allow you to do that, that's a 500-1 shot that could happen.
I wish you could just see Sean's face right now because he loves hearing 500-1.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. But he does like to put up different legs together. But that one, Sean, you only need 3. So that's even better for you.
I don't know if anybody will let you bet Clemson to win. And then,
I doubt.
So you might have to do a 2-team or Syracuse to win straight up with Clemson winning the national title.
You think that they'll let you do that one, though?
Yeah, they may.
Okay,
yeah.
We'll have to check it out. What about just this weekend, tying those 2 up and then rolling that winning over onto Clemson winning it all?
Yeah, but then Clemson's going to go down to 20-1.
Yeah.
And that's the big part of it at 60-1. I'd rather just bet the ticket on Clemson if they didn't allow me to parlay.
Okay. That makes sense.
But
okay.
If Syracuse winning straight up and Clemson to win the title is a over 200-1 shot itself.
Yeah. Woo. All right. That's it for us for today. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
To everybody who is watching, we appreciate you. I will be back Friday with Jeff Parles here at 9 a.m. And then don't forget to check this weekend, 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. Same spot. You know where to find us. Guys, thank you everybody in the back for all of your help with Sean, Ryan, and Vince. And
I'm not coming back till December. That's it. I've had it.
Okay. We'll see you in December. Have a good rest of your month and a good, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you everybody so much for watching. We'll see you shortly. This has been Sports by the Book.